My family and I are big on cooking shows. British bakers were our gateway, and we've sampled the full gamut now. Kids shows, grown-up shows, competitions, demonstrations, all the different cake engineering shows. The new NBC show, Yes Chef, also caught our attention. Like many a cooking show before it, there's a group of really talented people dealing with ridiculous constraints in time and ingredients in front of a bunch of cameras. But here, the contestants are also expected to work out their psychological demons.
Chef Jake needs to control his anger.
Chef T has a short fuse.
You're more driven by the drama than the dish.
It's hard to hear.
This is a chance to transform yourselves.
Yes, Chef!
This is a challenge to transform yourself, Chef José Andrés tells the group of contestants. He is a judge alongside Martha Stewart. You can guess the good cop, bad cop dynamic there. And so far, this show is really good family viewing. There's the intrigue of a cooking show alongside the lessons of how to deal with insecurity or anger issues or perfectionism that holds you back, and how to deal with teammates that are jerks. And I actually trust José Andrés to help these people. I interviewed him several years ago, and he made quite an impression. Our conversation first came out in 2019, and I re-listened recently and was struck by his charisma and big personality, yes, and also how that extended outward with a generous spirit and humility about the help he's needed from others, whether from brothers in a household that could be erratic, or from investors to open new businesses, or from Google when he had to figure out how to be a parent in a different way than he saw growing up. When we talked, he had already started World Central Kitchen, the organization that cooks and distributes meals in areas affected by natural disasters and war, and it's grown since, including in Gaza, where in 2024, 7 World Central Kitchen workers were killed when their envoy was struck by Israeli airstrikes. José Andrés eulogized them at a service in Washington's National Cathedral.
They risk everything to feed people they did not know. They were the best of humanity.
World Central Kitchen suspended, then resumed food service in Gaza after that attack. But it just announced on May 7th that after 130 million meals served there, they have been forced to stop cooking meals or baking bread because they have run out of supplies. They are still involved in distributing potable water. This is hard, sustained, complicated work that takes many people, not just a charismatic leader. But the charismatic leader matters. Not many of the other food show judges we watch also started major humanitarian organizations. So I wanted to share my conversation with Chef José Andrés with you again. And maybe you, like me, will be inspired.
Always I had very clear that as I move in life, that at the same time I will find the time to help others that maybe didn't buy the same lottery ticket I bought.
This is Death, Sex, and Money. The show from Slate about the things we think about a lot and need to talk about more. I'm Anna Sale. I'm excited to tell you that Death, Sex, and Money is back at Tribeca Audio in New York City. We're doing a live show on June 11th at 8:30 p.m., and I want to personally invite you to come join us and be a part of the live recording. I will be interviewing award-winning actor Allison Williams from Get Out, Girls, that weird doll horror movie Megan. We're going to talk about her life, her career. It's going to be fun. Whether you are in the city on the East Coast or have just been looking for an excuse to visit New York City in June, we hope to see you there. The show is Wednesday, June 11th at 8:30 p.m. Get your tickets now at tribecafilm.com/DSM. See you then. Hello, Death, Sex, and Money listeners. Before we start the show, I want to let you know about something coming up a little later in the episode. It's about Brooklinen. Summer is right around the corner, and it's the perfect time to refresh your space and create a home that fits your lifestyle. Whether you want to upgrade your bedding for warmer nights, add a pop of color to your bathroom, or layer in lightweight textures throughout your space, Brooklinen can help you feel totally prepared for the change in season and ready for your summer nights. More on that later in the show. Shop award winners and fan faves in-store or online at brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Get 15% off your first order today. Among his accomplishments, José Andrés is the chef credited with making tapas famous on this side of the Atlantic. He moved to the U.S. from Spain and opened his first restaurant in Washington, D.C. by the time he was 23 years old. But today, José is probably more well-known for his humanitarian work than for his cooking.
We are about to be serving our 2 million meal.
World Central Kitchen started when he and a team set up emergency kitchens after the earthquake in Haiti in 2010. Then after Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico and many, many other places since, including along the Ukrainian border in Poland and Gaza. All the while, the José Andrés Restaurant Group runs dozens of restaurants, including one that has been awarded 2 Michelin stars.
There is where I want to be an artist, and there we feed the few. But at the end, feeding the many and feeding the few is not really so different one from each other.
You have seen suffering very close up as part of your work with philanthropy and service. And then you are also in these very rarefied, elite environments in Washington and other places. Does it ever feel uncomfortable or jarring to come back home to Washington and to be surrounded by wealth?
Yeah. You don't need to go to an African country. In Washington, D.C., we have neighborhoods where people and children sometimes go hungry. And that's America, 21st century. And you go to a place like Haiti, there you see what real need is, and especially after the earthquake that happened. So those are the moments that you say, I think the new American dream should be to try to work hard to provide for the others that you don't know. Success cannot only be about I, the person, but success should be always about we, the people, and moving everybody along. I have a hard time believing that I'm going to have successful restaurants and then 2-3 streets down the road, I have families that don't know how to feed their children. That's not success.
José has thought a lot about the American dream. He became a U.S. citizen in 2013, 23 years after he immigrated from Spain. At the time, he exclaimed to the Washington Post, "I feel like a virgin in a good way," and said that immigrants, given the right opportunity like I was given, we can have a positive impact in this amazing country. José grew up in a village in the hills outside of Barcelona. That's where he first learned to cook from his parents.
Our kitchen was very small. I will say small for a family of 5. 6. And I guess that we will only be able to be like 3 people at the most in the kitchen.
Oh, really? You couldn't all fit?
Well, we could be 4, but not very small. But what I remember was all the smells and the aromas that always came out from that kitchen.
You have 3 brothers?
3 brothers. I am the big boy.
The oldest.
First one, the oldest.
Did you feel like when you were growing up, were you treated like the firstborn son? Was there a sort of pressure on your shoulders?
Yeah, I think always was pressure on my shoulders. I think to this day, when you are the oldest, you carry certain responsibility with that. It's not written anywhere, but I think everybody that is the first daughter or the first son, we kind of have to grow up quickly because it's moments in life that is necessary our leadership to protect our brothers or to push your mom and your dad to let you do the things they are trying to protect you from.
Did you feel like you protected your little brothers?
I think when I was young, yes. My relationship with my mom was not an easy one. She had somehow hard childhood on her own, so I always felt I was there protecting my brothers when somehow the amazing love that my mother was able to give us somehow disappeared in certain moments.
It sounds like you're sort of describing needing to sort of fill in some of the nurturing or the tenderness, which is not how I usually think of older brothers protecting their little brothers.
Yeah, and especially boys with boys, right?
Yeah.
At the end, every boy, every man has a very feminine side. But what happens seems that society is trying to, protect us from crying or from looking weak. But my mother, don't misunderstand me, was a very genuine person, hard worker. She gave her life for us, working hard and always taking care of us. She kind of became a nurse, already pregnant of my fourth brother, because, she saw the necessity of bringing an extra income home. And so my mom was really a woman of determination, but sometimes life made her, in certain moments, in the person she actually was not. And that's why maybe I had to have this kind of feeling like I had to be, yes, a little bit like a mother in some ways.
When you think about your childhood, do you think of it as an abusive environment?
Yeah, in relationship with my mom, probably. But sometimes it's not physical itself, but also can be used verbally or certain actions. But I believe everybody should try always, in the moment you feel you are growing up, to try to put yourself in the shoes of the other person, especially family, that is the people we don't choose. We have a harder time understanding certain relationships with the people we don't choose. Seems sometimes we are much more permissive with the people we choose. Why? Because we chose them.
Coming up, José Andrés leaves his home at 15 to start training in kitchens. Hey, it's Anna popping in here to say we are still taking your big money questions. We are convening an advice panel to answer some of them. We have heard from those of you in need of practical advice in the midst of big life transitions. And we've heard some of your confessions about feeling shame about being money avoidant.
I'm 42 and I'm watching my parents start retiring and I'm thinking, this is probably the next big milestone for my own life as well, right? Except I'm 0% prepared. I have nothing saved. I have less than nothing saved.
I'm going through a brutal divorce with someone I was with for 17 years. He really broke my heart and walked out. I went from double income to single income, and now I live a single life, living paycheck to paycheck, trying to figure out how to pay my bills and still try to sneak in some fun. and make life worth living.
I will talk over your questions and stories with a panel of experts, and we still want to hear from you if you have questions about money that are particular to this moment. Like, are you a small business owner worried about tariffs? Does AI pose a specific threat to your job? Or are you worried about buying a home with sky-high mortgage rates? Record a voice memo and email it to us at deathsexmoney@slate.com. On the next episode, as Netflix releases a new documentary about Brett Favre, I talked to two people at the center of a blockbuster sports story involving him and an explicit photo. A young woman who was propositioned by him while she worked for the Jets, and the reporter who burned her by publishing her name when she asked him not to.
I think we just got to talking about how dong shots had gotten so prevalent, I think is how the conversation started. It was just like, can you believe these guys that just, like, that they think that that's the move? You know what I mean? And AJ was kind of annoyed by it. He was just like, I can't believe I have to I have to, deal with this, cover this. And I was like, man, this is nothing compared to what happened to me at the Jets.
Years later, Jen Sturger and AJ DeLorio, the reporter, are friends and confidants. You will not believe how they got reconnected. This episode is brought to you by Understood.org. The diagnosis of ADHD in women skyrocketed during the pandemic. Now one health and science journalist is asking, why women? Why now? And how has underdiagnosis impacted women's mental health? Introducing Climbing the Walls, a 6-part podcast series hosted by Danielle Elliott. Climbing the Walls investigates why women with ADHD have gone undiagnosed for so long and how that changed dramatically during the pandemic. And this show is different than a lot of the online conversation about ADHD and women. Across its episodes, you're introduced to women of different generations and ages who got ADHD diagnoses in different eras. And as they share their stories, you learn about science and the history of psychology, and also about how the different ways our brains work can crash up against expected gender norms and behaviors. Join Danielle Elliott as she sheds light on the surge in ADHD diagnoses among women, including her own deeply personal story. To listen to Climbing the Walls, search for Climbing the Walls in your podcast app. Again, that's Climbing the Walls. The temperatures are rising and summer is almost here. And if you are tired of looking at the same tank top, same shorts, same everything, you can give your daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. I am just adding a European linen button-down to my summer rotation. It's white, breathable, sophisticated. Effortlessly cool is the look I'm going for. And it's made from 100% European flax, which is more sustainable and less resource-intensive to grow. And by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup, like linen shorts and dresses from $30, luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/DSM for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/DSM to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DSM. This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations. This is Death, Sex, and Money from Slate. I'm Anna Sale. José Andrés moved out of his family home when he was 15. He'd never been a great student, and his dad thought he should learn a trade. So he enrolled Jose in culinary school.
At the beginning, I was coming from my little town into the heart of Barcelona, but this was almost like a 1 hour, 1 hour and a half trip every day, almost 3 hours. And very quickly, I kind of managed to say, why I don't rent a little bed here near the school, and so I don't have to come back home. You see, to a degree, I was already trying to move away from a place I love, but the place I had the sense I had somehow to remove myself from if I wanted to become the person I needed to become.
Did you live by yourself in a little room, or did you live with other people?
Well, it was this kind of situation where it was a little apartment with little rooms, and you had your tiny room with your bed, and then a bathroom you share with others. But for me, it was just a place to go to sleep. My days will begin early in the school. That will start at 8. But then by 10, I found this job in a nearby restaurant. So I will begin skipping classes without nobody knowing. Well, the teachers knew, but not my mother. I fail on cooking, on English. Obviously, you can sense it why. And on accounting.
You failed at cooking also? That's the more
I
surprising
failed at cooking
one.
and a business, which some people say I'm very good at, and at English too. So my goodness, it's very funny that now people say how good a businessman I am. I cannot believe now I'm trying to express myself somehow in English, and I cannot believe that people say I'm kind of actually a very good cook.
Were you hanging out with, were your friends older coworkers and older people during that time?
Yeah, and it's so funny you're asking me about this because I got this summer job in a little town in the Mediterranean, north of Barcelona, in the Catalonian region. I will go to work during summer, 3-4 months. So I met this waitress that she was older than me, but she was working in a nearby discotheque. And me, the only thing I did was giving her roses every day. And I will give her a rose, and I gave her a rose. And I was in love with her. But my friend, who was older and I guess had more life experience than me, he was into other games. That is what young men and women do when they're young and their body's asking them for action in procreation. And so he broke my heart because I was too naive and too young. And I was like, great. Why you didn't tell me before? Because I spent half of my salary buying roses to that woman. And I thought I was in love with her and she was in love with me. I was just being the romantic one, and you were the effective, let's not waste time type of guy.
Wait, I want to make sure I understand. So did your friend ended up with the woman who you were giving roses to?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So I've not been a man of many women at all. I made a lot of friends, but I was always very, I don't know how to tell you, more interested in making friends than finding lovers. And in life, this has served me well, quite frankly.
Jose never finished school. He found work in restaurants instead. When he was still a teenager, he was hired by Ferran Adria, one of Spain's most famous chefs. Then Jose moved to the U.S. when he was 21 and worked in top kitchens in New York and California before landing in Washington.
When I moved to D.C., I was 23. I was outside this restaurant in Anna's Morgan, and I saw that woman from Spain. Her name is Patricia, who few days before I saw dancing beautiful flamenco with her arms up in the air like she was a tree in a very windy, beautiful day. And that moment, that second, I thought, well, this is the woman I'm going to keep sending flowers for the rest of my life. This I had very clear. On that, I had a very good eye. And here, 25 years later, here we are.
Did you send her flowers? Was that your first move?
I did send her flowers very quickly. She was living in Rockville with her uncle and her aunt. that they were in the Spanish embassy. She was studying in Maryland University at the time. But I'm not going to lie to you. The moment I saw her smile, her moves, her flamenco dancing, her smile, that moment I knew, like, man, I'm going to go with everything I got. And she didn't care about me early on, quite frankly, until the day she had to do a paper for the university on the business school about how to open a catering company. That was my moment. She approached me. She knew I was in restaurants. Can you help me to do this paper? Sure. Every dollar I had, I used it to buy a jacket I didn't have, a beautiful blue jacket. I told her to wait for me in Georgetown in front of Dean and DeLuca. And there I was waiting for her with a coffee. And that night we never did the paper. I took her to Citronelle, one of the best restaurants in the history of DC. And I guess that night, I think is the moment that she thought that maybe she could fall in love with me. But the fun part is that 2 weeks later, that beautiful jacket that I spent every dollar I had left to impress her, she gave it to a local church. So I guess I impressed her with my conversation, but I didn't impress her with my fashion.
Was it hard? What was it like to be dating in your 20s when your job is to work nights in restaurants? Like, how did you hang out?
Well, yes, I mean, restaurant work is hard. But again, when you're very much single and you're dating, but you don't have anything else to do, every hour, every minute I had, I will dedicate it to her. But that made me be very smart in how I could be more free. That meant that for me, freedom of time was more important than making more money. So very early on, I learned that time was essence. That time was, to me, more important than any gold I could own. And I always learned early on that I will find any way to, in this case, find time to be with her, or with my daughters as they began being born. And I think it's one of the reasons today, 25 years later, I have such a good team. Because I always knew that I was going to be only as good as the team I had around me.
Coming up, José Andrés talks about learning to be a father to his 3 daughters.
So I don't know before Google how dads did it.
Wait, what have you Googled? What have you Googled about parenting?
How to be a father.
Nothing boosts confidence like great hair. But if you are seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. That's why you need Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients and come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz, and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. Everything is 100% online, no pharmacy trips, doctor office visits, or insurance required. Treatments start at just $35 a month. And the best part? You can get thicker, fuller, healthier hair and start seeing regrowth in as little as 3 to 6 months. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/DSM. That's forhers.com/DSM for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/DSM. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plans. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. This episode is brought to you by Discover. If you've listened to Death, Sex, and Money for a while, you know how important acceptance is when it comes to personal growth. And you know who else is big on acceptance? Discover. You see, Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That's a whole lot of places and a whole lot of acceptance, which is great for Discover, but even better for you. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/credit card. In 2004, after a decade of running successful restaurants in D.C., José Andrés opened a restaurant across the Potomac in Crystal City, Virginia. He was in his mid-30s, married, a young father, and for the first time, he had a restaurant that was not doing well at all.
And this is technically the first restaurant that really I put a big chunk of money, of my own money.
Your own money.
And we had a lot of problems. And the lawyers and our financial people, very much at one moment, they were saying, well, let's do Chapter 11. Let's protect the business and yourselves.
I mean, thinking about the timing of that, like you had young daughters and your own money invested.
And friends that invested in the restaurants.
So how long did the period of uncertainty, of not knowing quite if you were going to get out from under the debt, how long did that last?
I think it lasted forever because, at the end you can say they are investors, but they're not investors. They're your friends and they believe in you. When you go to bed and you are thinking like, forget about me, but man, you care about them and it's not a lot you can do. You are kind of in this moment of almost trauma of saying, I'm letting my friends down. And then this cannot happen. I'm going to work hard to make sure that one day my friends get their money back and their investment back. And I think that was a moment that I'm very proud that my partners and I, we kind of said, you know what, we can save this. We kept Jaleo, we refinanced the debt, we refinanced the lease. And 12 plus years later, Jaleo in Crystal City, Virginia is doing very well. We didn't have to fire anybody. And quite frankly, I can tell you many, many moments that I was very happy because real success. But I was so happy that we were able to fight that moment. We had a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of belief that we should try to pay the debt we had. And to this day, this is one of the happiest accomplishments in my life.
How did you try to teach your daughters about what success is or what hard work is, kind of knowing that they were growing up in more comfort than you did?
Well, I mean, and I don't know, but don't you realize sometimes that you go through life and almost nothing comes with instructions?
Uh-huh. I have a 2-year-old. I definitely feel that, yes.
It's almost like I remember being there with my wife at Sibley Hospital, having our first daughter, Carlota. And I was there just waiting and helping her push and I'm waiting for this amazing moment, seeing my daughter coming out. And I think it's one of the first time I realized I barely learned how to be a grown-up. I barely learned how to be a husband. And now I have to learn how to be a dad. And I think men somehow, I don't know, is because we've been taught or because we don't know where to look for the information. Maybe I have a feeling we have a harder time understanding what a dad should do. And I've always felt kind of somehow a failure because I have initiative for a lot of things. And I have initiative to try to be a father, but I fail miserably compared to the nurturing that my wife has been able to do. I felt sometimes I was like a puppet where my wife will have to tell me on the ear, You should talk to your daughter about this or that because she will love to have a conversation with you about it. But if I didn't have that beautiful voice of my wife on my left and right ear guiding me, I don't think I will claim I've been a successful dad.
She told you when you needed to step in.
Often. Not how being a father in the sense of changing diapers. I was very good at changing diapers. That's technicalities I don't mind. And I was good at it, and I was proud of it. But how to be a dad in the soul nurturing way, in the knowing when to say something, knowing when to smile, knowing when to put maybe a face of seriousness. But me having my wife, obviously, me next to her, always gave me a lot of comfort. Not like saying that's your problem, but watching her, about learning from her.
When I think of what it is to be in a kitchen and part of a restaurant team, what your particular task is very clear. It's a very concrete task, how you can achieve the goal. And parenting is not like that.
You never know what's the meaning of success. They grow up, and one moment you are not the center of their universe anymore. Now we have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, where before everything was, let's do this and that with daddy and mommy. And now I feel like I'm competing. And I'm competing with friends, and I'm competing with other dads that takes them with their friends to a hockey game. And I don't even know the rules of hockey. and they have kind of a boyfriend. And all of a sudden you feel like, out of the game. And it's other people that become the center of the universe. And I'm going through that process right now.
As Jose has been figuring out how to be a dad to those growing daughters, he's also still wrestled with his relationship to the family he grew up in.
With my mom, always the reason maybe I was away from home is because the relationship I had with her. But, when she passed away, I cry. And I cry with the regrets of what you wish it happened. I wish I had a better relationship. I wish I saw her more often. I wish I had deeper conversations with her. But didn't happen. And the only thing forever for me is why lately I tell more and more stories about her cooking or the recipes I learned from her. Because at the end, you always want to concentrate in the very good moments. The bad things that happen in our lives probably in many ways are more important than the good ones. But those we need to learn how to live with them, but make sure that they don't become a weight, that they don't let you to move forward. And you should make sure that those negative moments become part of your essence, to make sure that you don't repeat those same mistakes, and then put them away and forget about them and concentrate in the very good moments and the moments in life that you really enjoy fully.
That's José Andrés, chef, humanitarian leader, and TV host. This episode was originally produced back in 2019 when our team was Katie Bishop, Anabel Bacon, Emily Botein, and Andrew Dunn, with help from Stephanie Joyce and Joanna Solotaroff. Today, the Debt, Sex, and Money team still includes Andrew Dunn, along with Cameron Drews and Zoe Azoulay. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer. Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. Please support the production of our show by becoming a member of Slate Plus if you haven't already. You'll be supporting our work on Death, Sex, and Money, and you'll also get access to exclusive episodes and ad-free listening to our show and all of Slate's podcasts. You can subscribe directly from the Death, Sex, and Money show page on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, or just go to slate.com/death, DSM Plus to get access wherever you listen. Our theme music is by the Reverend John DeLure and Steve Lewis. If you are new to our show, welcome. We're glad you're here. You can find us and follow us on Instagram at DeathSexMoney. I write a weekly newsletter at annasale.substack.com. Come on over and read it. And you can reach us anytime with voice memos, pep talks, questions, or critiques at deathsexmoney@slate.com. We love hearing from you. For a time, José Andrés was also a podcast host. His show was called Longer Tables, and on some episodes, you get to hear him in conversation with his daughters, Carlota, Inez, and Lucia, where they talk about not having to Google how to be daughters, but when it comes to how to cook or even what to buy at the grocery store, they have to ask their dad.
I don't even know how to order at a restaurant when I'm not with you because I don't know what to get. I feel like I always have to call you or text you.
I know how to order. I order the whole menu.
I never know
because
how to order.
That's what he does.
As you can see, I'm not a perfect dad. I've been overprotecting my daughters, and they are complaining that.
Oh, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, I will say the great thing is you're usually always on your phone, and so we call you. It's like, hey, Dad, I have a chicken. What do I do with it?
I'm Anna Sale, and this is Death, Sex, and Money from Slate.
Today's episode is sponsored by NerdWallet's Smart Money podcast. Money can be confusing. Should you invest in ETFs, get a travel rewards credit card, buy a house, or just build a really fancy pillow fort?
That could work. No shame in pillow fort game. Or you could just tune in for clear, research-backed financial insights.
I'm Sean Piles, a certified financial planner professional.
And I'm Elizabeth Ayola. We're the hosts of NerdWallet's Smart Money podcast, where you bring the money questions and we bring trustworthy information backed by NerdWallet's expert analysis, without the jargon or the sales pitch.
Our nerds do the research so you don't have to. We'll help you understand your options so you can make the best decision for your situation, from optimizing your investments and maximizing credit card rewards to making big money moves with confidence.
Plus, we keep it real. No lectures, no judgment. Just tips and tools you can use to build wealth and take control of your finances. Think of us as your financial GPS, helping you navigate your money decisions and avoid expensive wrong turns.
Whether you're planning for retirement, weighing a big purchase, or just want to make your money work harder for you, we've got insights that you can use in real life.
So, if you want practical, straightforward, and actually useful financial knowledge, plus a little bit of fun along the way, follow NerdWallet's Smart Money podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Trust us, future you will thank you.